All right. So it may be a little difficult for some folks to see it because I know it's kind of small, especially if you have your phones. Um, but here is eApp. So basically, eApp is um, web-based, so you can use it on any device that you have available to you. So it's no longer restricted to iPads. So as relevant as our conversation was, as your conversation was earlier, you can use it on any device that you have, laptops, PCs, anything that you can see it with. So it's going to be available on um, the actual website itself. So LHLIC agents, there will be a link for you once we get you set up and ready to go. But it's also just a website you can just type into the browser as well. So any browser on any device that you have. So once you log in using your username and password on the actual site itself, the same username and password you use to access the portal, it'll bring you to this page. Right now it's showing a training environment, which is what will kind of introduce the actual eApp to you. So here it shows a list of all applications that you've submitted through eApp, any application that you've started. It won't show you any application that you've had in the past through Secure App or through a live application, a paper application that you've sent. But down here in the lower right-hand corner, we do have the option to create a new eApp. So we'll go through that pretty quick. Oh, and of course, it's asking me to re-log in, but that's okay. Create a new eApp. So we'll go ahead and stick with something easy. You'll only really have the option of selecting the states that you're currently licensed to write in. So the drop-down menu will only show you the states that you have. The same goes for the language as well. So we'll go ahead and create a new eApp. Once it gets loaded up, the first section we have in here is the applicant information. So since we're starting with the applicant and that's the most important part, the owner section will be later. And I'll show you that in just a second here. So we'll stick with John Doe. The address. Now I'm using the keyboard to tab from field to field on here. Just to show you how really easy and simple it is to go through this application. Social Security number. And the great thing is that the security will block out the first 5 characters. So we'll only show the last 4 once you've left that field. The interesting thing is that down at the bottom, it changes it saves each change as you go from field to field. So if for whatever reason, if your internet goes out or you get disconnected, um, it'll save exactly from where you left off. Date of birth. Gender. And down here at the bottom, it has relationship to owner. Since most of the applications will probably be self, it's already set as self as default. I'll show you a spouse's application here shortly. So the next section is the health questions. If you answer yes to any of the uninsurable conditions, it will warn you that the applicant does not qualify for any coverage. So you can't accidentally mark yes. Question number 6 about Alzheimer's disease, dementia, organic brain syndrome, or ALS. If you answer yes, it will prompt you a message on here stating that that we'd like you to designate someone other than the applicant to be the owner or the payer. Other than that, this section's pretty straightforward. Moving on, we have the policy section. So just like on the FCGS form, we have a good, better, best section. So these fields will be editable. So you can pick 5, 10, 15, whatever 3 amounts you'd like to have a side-by-side comparison for. So we'll go ahead and pick the plan type first because it doesn't know which plan to pick. So you can either select each one of these as you go along, or you can, of course, type in the amount. It won't allow you to do a face amount that's higher than what's allowable. And the same goes for a relationship. So if you have a maximum of 10 or 15,000, it won't let you go higher than that. The AD&D is there. It won't let you do any higher units than 8. And the same with the child rider. It won't let you do any units higher than 5. Very simple. FCGS is there. So as of right now, we don't have an FCGS form that you have to fill out. In fact, it doesn't even generate an FCGS form, but you do still get a 10% bonus on your production. So if you mark yes on this, you'll still get your production bonus. APL and the mail to owner or producer. Very, very simple. So the beneficiary section on here. This is the first time we're seeing a grid system, so you can add and delete beneficiaries at will. Pretty easy. And I'll show you how you can actually pull information from any existing policy, any existing applicant that you have within this household. So we'll go in and make a spouse, and I'll show you how we'll be able to add Jane Doe in here in a little bit. Percentage, and middle name, address, all the good stuff in here, phone number. So you can add multiple in here. The percentages do have to equal 100%. Right now, we don't have a way for you to split them evenly, so you'll just have to calculate the percentages on your own. But we will have enhancements on that coming very soon. So you can add a contingent beneficiary, but if you know that you made a mistake, it's really super simple. There's a trash can right here. Just click it, the flag, done. So it shows the beneficiary on here. And I'll show you a little bit more on that as we do the second application. So since we designated the applicant as the owner, all the information is already filled in. So we don't have to worry about retyping anything, no redundancies. All right, the payer section. This I like, especially since, again, we don't have to retype in all the information all over again. If the owner is going to be the payer, there's just a quick toggle button here. You just flip that and it copies all the information over. So at this point, we've only typed in John's information in here once throughout the whole application. So the billing frequency, the initial payment date, it does pop up as a calendar, so it makes it just easy. Today's date, Friday the 5th, so you can just click on that. It won't allow you to do any greater than 45 days ahead. And obviously it won't let you do any date in the past. Bank draft, direct bill, credit card. We will be introducing very soon here a way for agents to submit a sequence number just by typing in the credit card information in here. It'll pop up and it'll actually generate a sequence number for you. So you will no longer have to call that 800 number. It'll all be integrated into the system right here. One-stop shop, that's the whole point. Routing number, account number, bank account type, All the rest of it is optional. Sequence number, again, you can type the sequence number in here for now. Like I said, the way to get a sequence number is coming very, very soon. Expiration date for the credit card, so on and so forth. If you change your mind, you can switch back, and all the information is still kept in here. All nice and secure. So moving on to the next section. I wanted to wait to show you this section with the premium on here because it won't update the premium until we've added ChildWriter, since we did pick 5 units of 80 ChildWriter for this application. This is the premium before the ChildWriter, the 5850. As you can see here, the ChildWriter premium is left blank. That's because it doesn't know how many children we have yet. So we'll add 1 child for this one. Date of birth. So it won't allow you to do less than 30 days. And it won't allow you to do greater than 17. Beneficiary is an option in there. Medical questions. You do need to ask the medical questions for each one of them, since we need to, verify for health. You can add multiple in here. You can go down the list. You can add as many as you need. Go down the list. You can answer all the medical questions all at once if you need to. So we'll just do 1 child for now. So I'm just deleting all of these. Done. So now your premium now updates to 6850. It has a breakdown, a nice breakdown here. The base coverage of 10,000, premium 50/50, ChildWriter coverage about 25,000, $10 premium for that one. Breakdown here for AD&D as well, premium of $8. So it gives you a nice idea. The beautiful thing about this application is that as you go through the households, it will actually give you a total once we start adding more and more households to this. And I'll show that to you really quick here. Let's go over the replacement question, our favorite section, of course. Replacement question is very tightly kept. So based on the state you're currently writing in, all these questions will be required. They'll have additional questions depending on your state. We'll go ahead and add. Go. Just add 1 for now. Very super simple. If you require a replacement on here, it will have all the required fields on here. Reason for replacement, FCGS, we all know is great. Deal. All right. So the beautiful thing about eApp and how we're setting this up is that it's very expansive. We've been taking a lot of feedback from agents. One feedback in particular was the option to add a supplemental application. Even if you don't need it, even if it's not required for the application itself, it does give you the option. So what it's asking for you right now, even though it's not required because it's only 10,000, we did provide the social security number. So it's not normally required. However, it does ask you, would you like to fill out a supplemental application? So if you have if you're interested in adding it in, if underwriting requests for whatever reason that we need a supplemental application, it's there if you need it. If you would like to, I know that a lot of agents, they like to include a supplemental application anyways, just on the off chance that one's needed. It does still give you the option to submit one anyways, even though it's not required. You can, of course, skip past that section. You can mark no for that and just move on. But before we even had selected anything at this point, it did actually have a green check mark on here. And that's the other thing, is that all the check marks down here need to be green before you can submit, just like Secure App. So we'll go ahead and show you this really quick. A couple of great features about this is that you have the option to add another medication on here. So if you have a medication on here that's not on the list or a reason for use that's not on the list, there's this question here, any other medication? You can mark yes on there and you have the option to add one. Let me show you an example, lisinopril. Very common that we get this. High blood pressure, heart disease. Those are usually the only two options that we have for lisinopril. But if you find that, for lisinopril, they take it for water retention, very common for that medication. We selected any other medication, yes. It gave us the option to type in the medication on here. And we can just write in water retention. Very easy. We can go back and delete the other one. There we go. All right, so we're all set for this application. The last section that we have, there's actually a suitability section. So if there's, for certain states, there's sections like a minor suitability form that we might have questions, additional questions, depending on the state. That section will be included on all applications, regardless of the state. In most states, it's going to be just blank, green check mark. We can move on to the next section. The last section here is the producer section that has your name, which will be automatically filled in, a PV reference number, and the owner's email address, and two options that we have right now for signing the application. One is to do it on the device, so sign documents on device, iPad, laptop, etc. Or two, sign documents via email. So what this will do is, depending on how many parties there are, it will require at least one email address. So for the owner, email address will have a field. If the owner is different from the payer, the insurer, the applicant, if all three of them are different, you're going to have three different email options on here. So
This is
they'll each get
powerful.
their own. They'll each get their own copy of whatever paperwork they need to fill out. So if we have a separate payer, that payer is going to have a separate email with just the actual pack form on it separately. So, but we still have, of course, the traditional way of submitting the application, having them sign on the device. If we have a recorded after hours application, like if we're doing a tele app, but you're doing it on the recorded line, you can still do sign the documents on the device, right? Recorded on it, sign recorded on each field as we are normally doing right now. That's the option as well. I know that a lot of clients may not have an email address, or they may have only one email address. Even if they're three different people, you can still copy and paste, add the email address to three different fields, whatever you need to do. I know that some agents, they just share one email address. Split as well. So you can add a split. All the agents are already in there already. When you type in split agent number, it's just like the last 4 or 5 of the number. So not 27 dashes, none of that. No leading zeros or anything. So just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can submit this application here, but what I want to really show you is one of the greatest tools of this application, and how it's superior to Secure App and the paper application is that we can do related e-apps. So we'll go ahead and hit the plus sign to add a second application to this. So in creating a new e-app, it does pop up on here with the state, the language on here for the second application. So we'll go ahead and hit create.
Can you do PA? Can you do PA?
Yeah, I could do PA.
And if you notice, Jonathan is not having to log out or anything to switch the state. That applies to the language as well. So
Yep.
if you accidentally choose the wrong one, super easy to go back and correct it.
Right. I don't know if we have any Spanish speakers in here, but that is an option. Everything, when you switch the language on here, it's super simple. You can go in there and just at the drop of a hat, change the language on the whole thing. Everything's going to be in Spanish on here. Same thing with the state. All the required forms for that will change depending on the state itself. So you can switch it as at will. So we'll go in here. Find existing is going to be one of the first things I want to show you on here. So under the applicant information, the beneficiaries, the owner, the payer, they all have a find existing button on them. So we'll click on that. So John Doe's name comes on here. We're actually working on the wife's application right now, but you can copy all the information over. We won't select all because that would copy over John Doe as the applicant, but we can do address only, phone and email, or all contact information. We'll just do all contact information. So when you click that, everything gets filled in. The address, the city, the state, the zip code, and the phone number all get added in there for you. So do Jane. Social Security number, we'll go ahead and withhold this one. So we'll show you how it reacts to that. Date of birth. Gender, we'll stick with a self for the owner. Medical questions. Good, better, best on here. So we can pick different plan types between the households. So it does say on here, it does give you kind of a heads up on here. It's not requiring you to do anything right now, but it does mention a supplemental application is required if the applicant prefers to withhold their social security number, as we had checkmarked it back in the applicant section. So we'll add AD&D, but we won't add child rider since we got it on the other application. So as Troy had mentioned, doing PA does have the disclosure, the PA disclosure right here, automatically filled in. You don't have to do any more calculating. It's all automatic based on the answers to the face amount, the premium, all that. So it asks you about the index.
No more closed cases.
Right. So going through this, it has all the information on here. We'll try to get more information added in here. I know that it asks for the agent address. I mean, we should already have that on file. So we'll work on getting that more integrated on here. But all the information required for that is all right here for you. Automatically generated, no worries there. Beneficiary, we can do the same exact thing with the beneficiary, which is what I really like about this section. Adding a second application on here, we can just drop in John Doe's information. Straight there, spouse. We'll have to still go into it because we still need to designate them as the primary contingent. And obviously, the system doesn't know what their relationship is and percentage. We can hit done. We can't actually create, we can go in here. I don't think we created them as a second, but we can actually copy over the information if we wanted to add a child. So what I did is I just copied just the address and the phone number in here. So we can add a child. See, I started to type in child, so it eliminates the list on there. So if you're having trouble finding a relationship on here, you can start typing and it'll find the closest match. Super, super simple. Oh, we need a percentage on that. Try not to blind you too much with red asterisks and all these other required fields and everything. So whatever information you have on there, it will tell you if something is missing. Payer section. All right, number one favorite right here. Find existing. John Doe's information is on here. Payment information is included. It shows you, if you hover over it, what the information is on there, the account number, the routing number that we had entered in on that last app. Select all. Fills in almost everything. Account number, bank routing number. None of this is editable. So if you had to make a change, you will need to either manually change it or go back to John Doe's application and make the change there, and then make sure that this updates on this side. So it does give you the option for a different initial premium date, because I know that sometimes when you're submitting applications to us, sometimes the applicant would like, to have a different date for the initial premium date or a different due date, like if they wanted to stagger their due dates. Super simple. That section's done. We don't have a writer, so it's left blank. We can continue from here. Won't make you do another replacement form on this, so we'll mark no's. So this is now required. So it does say on here required, but it does, of course, give you the option to say yes or no. Has the proposed insured been prescribed or taken any medication in the past 2 years? I've already showed this to you, so we can mark no. And we'll just move on. Suitability blank. Same options as before. So now the great thing is now we have, for this total, $58.10, and now we have a total premium in the household of $126.60. So if you need to make adjustments, if they want more or less, you can click on each name, go through here and make any adjustments you want to. You can go back to the policy. You can bump them up to 15. Automatically changes the total premium to $150.35. So you can make adjustments as you go between households. We have not submitted any of these applications. I'm just going to go ahead and show you submitting this first application for John Doe. Really super simple.
So each application in a household is going to be individual. So you will have to go into each one to submit it. So if you need to come back to one of them later, you don't have to submit them all at one time. You'll have the ability to submit just one application, or you can go through and submit all of them.
Yep. So each, for this one, we had chosen to sign on the device itself. So we're given these cards here. Each card represents a party, a specific party in there. So John Doe's information is on here. So you can literally, this gives you the chance to pass on the device, to pass on your iPad, your Android device, your PC, whatever you have at your disposal. And it only asks for one group's signature at a time. So you're no longer having to worry about, oh no, you signed you signed on my spot, So it's just the insured and owner signature at this point. Going through, of course, when we click on this, of course, it will have, a dialog box on here to actually use, to actually sign it, to draw their signature on there. Everything's on here. So I'm going to click on finish. Just takes a moment for DocuSign to get that information. You can move on to the producer section. And of course, we'll have your name on here. Going through here, John Doe, your signature down at the bottom of that one, the replacement form, and that's it. So you're no longer having to play tug of war with your device on whose signature is supposed to be where. We all have it from separate sections, so you can take it back and finish signing yourself. This one is in a different order. It will normally have the applicant on the left side and the agent will be on the right side normally. So we'll just give it here a moment and we'll submit the e-app. Both check marks on here are signed. And we'll go ahead and submit that e-app. And it'll take you, in just a moment, it'll take you back to the application itself. So we've already submitted, so it says success, congratulations, your application has been submitted successfully, and it does give you a reminder on here to leave a copy of the payment authorization or any other state required form to leave with the client. That's it. So we have Jane Doe's on here, so we can go, of course, click on Jane Doe's application and submit hers as we go. But that pretty much concludes my little demonstration here.
Yeah, and we did want to also go over teleapps. So
Okay.
the great thing about using eApp is that this is the same system that associates are using to enter teleapps. And so once you get access to the live version of eApp, you can actually start filling out the application before you call in to the home office to do the recording. And so you will, I don't think that we have any telesales agents on here, but for teleapps, you will still do a field application and you can enter all the way through the application.
Georgianne, we do. We do.
You do have some telesales?
Yeah, we have quite a few people who do telesales on here.
Okay, we can show you that real quick afterwards too. But for teleapp, you'll go through all of the sections. Just leave the producer section blank. You don't have to answer anything there. And then at that point, you can call into the home office and give the associate the reference number for the application. And then they can pick up the application from there. And so all they will need to do at that point is do the recording and verify the information, but it'll shorten the call a lot because they're not having to get that information from you and type that in themselves. That part's already going to be done. So it'll really help with the teleapp process. Jonathan, if you want to go into one of the applications and just switch it from field to telesales, and then we can show the telesales section.
Right. So switching over, really super simple. So everything is pretty much the same going through the application itself. So for a telesales application, it does have all the information that you need, the script and everything on here for the recording itself.
So the points this is for, sorry, this is for agents who have their own equipment and do their own recording. So not for field agents who call in to have the home office do the recording.
Right.
Oh, well,
right.
yeah, well, that's different thing. No, we don't have any of that. We don't have that. You're right. Yeah, we have full agents that do. Yeah.
Okay.
So I see what you meant. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yep, I know. We throw away.
That's actually for after hours. If you do have an after hour, they do it themselves.
For after hours, you will also still be doing a field application. You're just going to write the word recorded on the application. So you'll still say sign on the device and you'll write in recorded just like you do now if you were doing a secure app with the after hours line.
Okay,
right.
Well, I'm sorry, Book. This is Christine L. I still do the telesales, the old version where I record my own application. So so at that point I would do that telesales and then just submit it. You didn't complete it because Troy said we didn't have any telesales, old school telesales
Yes,
Yeah.
so for old school telesales.
I'm sorry, Chrissy, I forgot about you, baby. Please don't,
That's
don't,
all right.
please, please, please
Oh.
don't hurt me. I'm so
I
sorry.
mean, I know I've
Chrissy,
been
I'm
running
sorry.
and hiring left and right, but I still do some apps. I still do
Yeah,
the
I'm so
telesales.
sorry. I forgot all about you. I forgot you were from the way in the beginning. I apologize.
So
That's all right.
Christine,
I thank
Yeah.
you. Yes.
yeah, so here you have the option to upload your telesales recording on here.
Okay, there it is.
At the bottom
Oh,
of the
that's
script
nice.
on here. So you would just select, you can go in here and just select the file and pull it from there.
Perfect.
So
Okay.
right now, the only issue that we have right now is that iPads are having trouble with uploading. But you can still switch. The beauty of this, and this goes for everyone, not just telesales agent, is that if for whatever reason you find it easier to work on a different device, you can switch at will. I can literally go out of this application. I can log out right now. And apparently it was listening to me, so it logged me out. I don't know what it's doing, but but you can literally go from device to device, and you can stop what you're doing right now. You can switch to the PC, so you can log into the PC and pick up exactly where you left off. So if for whatever reason you're having trouble with the device or connection issue or whatever, you can switch at will. That's the beauty
Nice.
of that. So
Nice. Yeah, well, I do all the recordings right on the cell phone, so that just makes it
right.
easy.
Yep.
Everything's right there.
Yep.
Perfect.
So you
Thank
just
you.
click
Thank
on the
you.
upload, and then you're all set. And then it uploads. I think 20 megabytes is the most it'll handle, but I think that pretty much goes the same for I think what it was before. So all right. So that's pretty much it. Any questions other than what Georgianne is probably taking care of in the background?
Any questions at all, guys? Please, we got them on. Anything at all? You guys did a great job explaining it. This is amazing.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank
this
you,
is
Troy.
so awesome. Jordan,
Appreciate
thank
that.
you for coming through for me, guys. I really appreciate it. I know I kind of twist your arm, Georgianne, but I do appreciate you doing this. I really do. Thank you for making this happen. Both of you guys
Yeah,
have
of
done
course.
look.
Hey,
Yeah,
George,
yeah. Now you're right. Now, how do we get these guys set up? When does it start? Can you tell us the process so we can get these guys enrolled and get them going? How can they start this process?
Yeah, of course. So had a couple questions about Secure Ops. So Secure Ops not going anywhere. Secure Ops still going to be available. We've just kind of outgrown that platform. So EOP is going to allow us to provide you guys with more updates and enhancements, a more stable platform. And we can really get changes out to you a lot faster with EOP. And then about getting guys started, we are already live with it. So we have some agents using it already. But for you guys over the next few days, I can work with Troy to get a list of everyone in attendance, and we can